Hey guys, today we're going to reveal our 5 worst travel mistakes that will cost you thousands of dollars if you're not careful. How many thousands? Well, it's cost us $10,000 so far and we're still learning. So why not learn from our travel mistakes and save money for doing the things that you love doing the most, seeing the world. We're bearing it all here and we're hoping that you might share your most expensive travel mistake in the comment section below. Because we all need to know that we're not alone and that we all make mistakes. And isn't it better to learn from each other's mistakes so that we all don't have to make them? We'll be saving our biggest slow travel mistake for the end. And be sure to stick around to the very end to find out how we will be saving $1,200 a month moving forward. So let's start with our biggest mistake. Too much fast travel cost us $5,400. Unsurprisingly, we were very excited when we first started out. I hadn't been abroad for 7 years when we were living in Kuwait, and Amanda hadn't been abroad for 3 when she visited Iceland with a friend. On top of that, all of our previous travel experience was fast travel, meaning that we have had a lot of bad habits to unlearn. For those new to the channel, we started fast traveling as soon as we left Nova Scotia to begin our worldwide slow travel journey. We stopped in Quebec City and Montreal on our way back to Ontario, Canada. We also added a few days in London, England, a few days in Paris, a stop in Vichy, France, all on our way to Barcelona. There was nothing slow at all about the start of our slow travel journey. So the lesson for you is that when you first start out, remember not to get carried away. Slow travel will get you everywhere eventually, so there's no need to try to fit it all in at the very beginning. If we had driven directly to Ontario with only one stop, and if we had flown to London, England, and then from there to Barcelona, we could have saved at least $5,400. That's a lot of savings. Our second mistake was that we took the train from London to Paris instead of taking the plane, which cost us an extra $300 to $600. How did we make this mistake? Well, we made the more expensive decision to take the train from London to Paris without really thinking about all the pros and cons. We had thought that the train from London to Paris would offer us amazing views of the countryside, awe us with the engineering marvel of the Channel, and be quite a bit less hectic than airports, which are pretty much bad all over the world right now. But with proper research, we would have realized that the train really doesn't offer much as far as views go. The lineups are atrocious, actually making it worse than the airport. And the Channel itself didn't seem any different than the average metro ride. All in all, it was more annoying than flying and cost us at least $300 more. Our third mistake was that we rented a car instead of getting a rail pass. Now, Amanda and I still argue as to whether this was actually a mistake. But we can both agree that choosing to rent a car cost us an additional $2,800. When deciding whether or not you want to rent a car, be sure to keep in mind all the expenses. The rental fees are only one part of it. Don't forget the insurance, the additional driver fees, and get ready for a shock if you're from America, the cost of gas, the additional mileage fees, and the shocking amount of tolls, especially if you're traveling through France, which has the most expensive tolls we have ever seen. Alternatively, we could have purchased an EU Rail Pass and budgeted an additional $1,500 in additional day trip accommodations. Before you totally rule out a car, there is a big catch to the EU Rail Pass. You will have to lug around your luggage every time you travel, as opposed to having a car that can sort of act as a storage locker between stays. Are you wondering how a family of 4 affords to travel full-time and explore the world? Well, our income and our expenses in a full-page report that you can access in the comment section below. Check it out. Our fourth mistake was that we chose Airbnb bookings that were too remote. So if you've been following us, you know that we're a fairly frugal family that loves to save money. We tried to save money by booking monthly rentals in small towns that were centrally located. This gave us nicer stays for less money, but as it turned out, this was a penny-wise, dollar-dumb decision. And it meant that there was far less to do, and we needed to use the car for virtually any of our day trips. So after suffering through some of the worst stress and homesickness of our journey, we've come to realize that rural living really isn't our thing. That being said, we aren't big city people either. Our comfort zone really is small cities between 200 and 500,000 people. We have learned that easy access to vegetarian options at restaurants and grocery stores is an absolute must for our family. We've also learned that we need a few fellow expats to speak with from time to time, and a place where we can go to get out of the apartment on a daily basis for at least some sort of activity. We love immersing ourselves in another culture, but navigating homesickness and stress is easier in the right conditions. This mistake didn't really cost us any money, but it also didn't save us the money we thought it would either, which means that we suffered through a very difficult time without any real economic payoff. Now for what we feel is our biggest and second most expensive mistake, we joined Trusted House Sitters too late. If you don't know what Trusted House Sitters is, let me explain it to you. Trusted House Sitters is a matchmaking service for pet owners and pet sitters. It has members all over the world, but the UK is probably one of the more popular locations for owners. It shows owners and sitters potential matches based on location, family dynamics, pet experience, dates, and more. It feels a little like Airbnb if Airbnb stays came with responsibilities. We were worried at first that we'd have some difficulty as a family of 4 looking for sits, but we've come to learn that some people prefer families, and we've had plenty of great house sits with some very adorable fur babies. We will spend a few $100s every year on the membership, but we will save probably $1,200 a month every time we can find enough long-term stays to fill that month. Admittedly, we will probably spend a few $100s more in accommodations and transportation to get to and from the various house sits, but we will also save on groceries as most house sits want you to use their perishables before they go bad, and of course, the use of their condiments. Looking back over the last 4 months of slow travel, we realized that we could have saved at least $10,000 if we had done things a little differently. We could have fast traveled less and spent $5,400. However, in a do-over, we would probably still spend about half of that. We could have flown from London to Barcelona, instead of taking the train and later the rental car through France, which would have saved us well over $1,000, and that's exactly what we would do in the future. We could have purchased an EU Rail Pass, which would have saved us about $2,800. But in the end, it might have been worth it for the rental car just for the ease and convenience of having a rental car. We still haven't decided what we'll do moving forward. Lastly, we could have joined Trusted House Sitters before setting out and saved $1,200 a month. And we could have used the Trusted House Sitters opportunities to help us decide where we wanted to go in the world. Now, if you think that Trusted House Sitters is something that you might be interested in, feel free to use the link in our video description or in the comment section below. Just a heads up though, it is an affiliate link, and we will make some sort of commission if you click on it and choose to get a membership for yourself. However, we would recommend Trusted House Sitters with or without the commission. We would have recommended Trusted House Sitters based on the cost savings alone. But we also want to mention that the places that we've been staying in far exceed the quality of the Airbnb houses that we could afford on our $1,200 a month budget. Our first sit was filled with toys and lots of activities for the boys. It also had a hot tub. Our second sit, where we're staying now, is a 4-story luxury apartment in the middle of Edinburgh. Both places easily would have cost us $5,000 a month to rent on Airbnb. So the quality of stay is far superior than what we would get on Airbnb within our price range. So all in all, we've spent more than we really wish we had of, and we want you to learn from our mistakes. But like we mentioned before, we want to learn from your mistakes, and we're really hoping that you will share your most expensive travel mistake in the comment section below. And as always, we want to thank you for joining us, and we want you to keep joining us every further mile.